cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I thought for a second that somebody else was doing my job.
They took our job!
They took our job!
They took
Mike's Daily Podcast. Don't take Mike's Daily Podcast. Hey, it's Mike Matthews. It's episode 1962. I was with you yesterday on the Christmas edition. Now we're December 26th with me. That means no more of this thing that we were, singing. It's early. Mike's Daily Podcast.
No more!
No more.
It's time to stop, okay?
Christmas time. No, we'll just enjoy the Christmas lights for a couple more days. Podcast. How's that sound to you? Yeah! I got to... Actually, it was kind of nice. So, I'm a nice guy. I'm the anti-Scrooge. And I didn't want to hurt Bob Cratchit, who usually gets up and does the early morning shift. He has to be at work by 5. And so I said, I'll do it today. And I drove to work, and I saw a lot of cool lights in the town of Niles, part of Fremont. And it's very cool there because even though it's like an old town type thing, and there's some little dicey parts close by to Niles, but still, it's got this, what do you call it? The old movies. It's all connected to the old movies, the old films, the before sound, silent movies. And Mr. Charlie Chaplin and all those other people. So, I drove through that on my way because it was on my way to work, and they still had some Christmas lights up. They got this big Christmas tree. And I figured that a lot of these people that have these huge Christmas trees that they put lights on every year, they don't put them on every year. They leave the lights on all year long. They just don't plug it in. And that's great because the electric bill is pretty awful. Did I mention my lovely lady friend was on the last show? You should check that one out.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Because this one's a bit of a mess.
A mess. It's a mess.
But the podcast picture today, I will tell you in a moment. Hey, everybody's here so early on this day after Christmas Day. And they're all just so happy. How is that possible? Do you ever get those then and now pictures? I don't know if you do Google Photos, but they do this thing where they show you from a year ago and now. And it's either really just, oh no, I've aged that much, or it's more of a, oh, I haven't changed that much. Basil, he's actually's changed quite a bit. Basil the boxer, he's 11 now, and a little difficult for him to do the whole running around thing. But yet, we celebrated Christmas with him. It was a fun day. And I have a podcast picture today of this place I go by. Speaking of Niles, we'll do a picture from Niles as I was just talking about that moments ago. And, we'll just put, No, we won't. I'm sorry. Nothing's coming to me today. I gotta space my Mike's Daily Podcast out a little bit more than 24 hours. Get a little bit of space in between everything. Oh, I can go back. How about we go back 5 years ago? And the lovely town of Benicia. Oh, okay. Which I've been wanting to go to for a while. People go, why do you like Benicia? It's kind of, No. I've met cool people there. I love the downtown street. You go down this main street, and it ends at the water. It ends at the bay. And then you've got, apparently, the Pony Express. This was like their last outpost they would stop at, and then they'd catch a boat and take the mail to San Francisco. What else? Benicia was the capital of California. It's got all these neat little bits of history to it. So you can see that picture of Benicia if you don't know what I'm talking about at MikesDailyPodcast.com. I don't really like to post pictures of Basil from, years back, even though, what's the difference? I mean, Basil's Basil, but it's kind of sad that now he can't do his walking thing without me. And I feel like I should post pictures with that. But at some point, I will post pictures of the younger Basil days. But dogs get old, as we do as well. And as you hear Bing Crosby and David Bowie say to each other as they are talking, which apparently that happened shortly before Bing Crosby died. And David Bowie said to him, now both of them are gone, and David Bowie said to him, I'm not as young as I look. And Bing Crosby said, none of us are these days. And you can watch Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly do that entire skit, do the entire recording that Bing Crosby and David Bowie did. They just reenact the whole thing, only with John C. Reilly playing Bing Crosby and Will Ferrell doing David Bowie. Another thing I watched with David Bowie this past weekend, because I was in a George Michael mood. George Michael died around this time of year, several years ago. And I was watching a live concert George Michael did. It was to raise money for AIDS research. And Princess Diana was there. And so was David Bowie. David Bowie got up and gave like the little introduction speech. Is it the King's Trust, Queen's Trust, something like that? Princess Trust. And it was done to raise money for AIDS research. And this was in 1993. The AIDS epidemic was really bad. And so George Michael said, I'll do a concert for free and raise money. And all these people were there. And he did his big hit songs at the time. And he also covered Seal. Interestingly enough, Seal, Never Gonna Survive Unless We Get a Little Crazy, and Kiss from a Rose. He covered a Seal song called, I think it was Killer is what he did. But as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley, Mont today. Yeah, so I think that's free to watch on YouTube. That's where I caught it. But yeah, all those, the three people I just mentioned, David Bowie, George Michael, Princess Diana, gone. And so it is important this time of year to remember the people that we lost, that are no longer with us, and to enjoy the people that are with us now, and to take stock. That's what this time of year is all about, especially as we are ending the 2010s, as we were talking about last show. What do you think the 2010s will be remembered most for? Netflix. Yes. Netflix and all the companies that are going to surpass Netflix very soon, it would appear. I talked to someone who is a huge fan of the Disney Plus, because they're like, basically Disney owns, they on this Disney Plus, they got all the stuff from Fox, all the stuff from Disney, but it's, they got this and all the other stuff. So it's going to be very tough for Netflix, I guess is what I'm saying. Hey, I would love to mention to you too, if you haven't watched it yet, go on YouTube and watch Match Game PM old shows, or Match Game back in the day with Gene Rayburn. And he would have on Charles Nelson Riley, Betty White. You get to see a very young Betty White. And just Richard Dawson, Family Feud. In fact, this show led to the Family Feud, because at the end of the show, the contestant would have to do a thing with what the audience surveyed thought. It's basically, you say a sentence and then you put a blank somewhere and then fill the blank, and then whatever is the best word to fill the blank, and then you got to match it with the celebrities that are on the panel. There were all sorts of celebrities over the years, big famous 70s celebrities, and then little known soap opera stars that when you watch today and you go, oh, this was a person on a soap opera star, and that was all they did was a soap opera. Or you see Jamie Lee Curtis, who went on to other bigger, better things, and now does yogurt commercials. Does she still do that? She's Zooey Deschanel's mom on New Girl. That was the last thing I saw her in. And then redid her horror movie stuff. Horror. But that is fun to watch because it's unscripted and the people all know each other and they're a little tipsy. They've had a little bit of the drinky, and so they are just as loose as can be. And
My advice to you, start drinking heavily.
I don't think John Belushi was ever on it. So if you watch it, I guess the show lasted for quite a few years. And then they tried to bring it back years later, and it was just not the same. Because what makes it fun is that it was done in the 70s, and you're really capturing that 70s oeuvre. That culture, that anarchy.
I don't even know what that means, but I love it.
And people were getting offended. No, they were never getting offended.
But if you get offended, that's the way the cookie crumbles. No.
Oh, except for the censors that got offended by the Smothers Brothers and took them off the air. And there was some times on the show, Match Game, where they had to censor. And they said, like, you can't mention any body parts. Shh, don't do that. But this show is a clean show. This one here. And that's why I go and say things like, what did I hear today on the way into work? Oh, about the homeless situation. Yeah, it is so bad, apparently, in Los Angeles that a lot of homeless have gone into the local parks and caused some forest fires and stuff like that. And it's just the reasoning that we have here in California for homeless is that, oh, we didn't build enough housing for all the people moving here. Well, here's a thought. Okay, so move. That's what I did. I left California for a while and I came back. And so I am to blame. But still, I mean, I came back. But I came back knowing that I had a logistic way of being here. I don't understand. Like, okay, if you grow up in the Bay Area and you're like, oh, I can't afford to live here, move. There are other places in this big old country that you might like. Check it out. I did it. Would I move back to Alabama? I heck as sure would, yes. I enjoyed it. Will I do it at some point? I think I will. And that's fine. Am I going to be surrounded by Republicans?
Which is a very good thing. Which is a very, very good thing.
I will. For the most part, they were very nice to me. And I just, in the South, talking politics, you know, religion, politics, they steer away from the charged topics. Move! I don't get the whole freaking, you know, Michelle Obama said, get up and move. Get some exercise. I think we need to move more. Right now, and I say that because right now, saying that, and I'm stuck here in California. I can't leave.
I appreciate that.
I really can't because, well, there's some good things happening for me now. I got a lovely lady friend who's got a good job in the Bay Area. I got my duties in the Bay Area where I get up at 5 in the morning and enjoy that. But, you know, you have to survey your life, you know, and just because you have family, they can come visit you. Will they come visit you? Probably not. When I moved to Huntsville, did I have people visit me? Oh, I think my mom did, and I was married at the time. The in-laws visited, and the in-laws' grandma visited. Okay, so some people came to see us. I just don't get it. You got move. If California is too much, get out. We have the great weather, but you can get good weather everywhere. If you just put up with a little bit of humidity, I don't get it. Well, my website's down. I gotta fix that. Okay, that's a crisis. We'll hopefully get that to work in the near future. And, oh boy, my server's down. I wonder if that means Amazon servers are down. And that can be a thing. Didn't that happen a year ago after Christmas? Well, anyway, you can call me about what you think about all this. You can call me at 336-MM-DAILY. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast is. Look who's out here at Cafe Anyway. Hello, my commercial. It's Madame Rootabega. And what a charged topic you have today. Oh! You think it's charged with the whole stuff I'm talking about?
Whoa.
Yes, Michael Matthew. Would you ever want to move out of California? Yes. Would you ever want to go training with Sylvester Stallone? Yes. Would you like to hear another Christmas song?
Merry Christmas!
No. All right, look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we had a good time yesterday with you hanging out.
Yeah, we had a good time hanging. Yeah. Do you know that?
Phrasing?
Good. We did hang out. It was
Phrasing?
Christmas time.
Merry Christmas!
And everybody came to Cafe Anyway.
Phrasing?
Anyway. Cafe Anyway. Innuendo anyway. Match game has lots of innuendo. And that's the end of the show. All right, next show it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. It was fun doing a podcast with a lot of wonderful sound effects. Didn't you enjoy it? I sure did. Great.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!